During Five Nights at Freddy's Ruin, you see Roxy pinned under a forklift. Now, many people have theorized how she actually got under this forklift, myself included, and I believe I had it solved. It looked fairly straightforward, an open and shut case, but I was actually completely wrong. And how she got under that forklift, well, this potentially will blow your mind. And I know what you're thinking, you've probably heard it before. Well, believe you me, you will have not heard this theory before, and there's definitely some evidence to suggest it. And if you look at the scene in detail, you see a forklift, a blue shipping crate, and a destroyed recharge station. Now, in my original theory, I had theorized that the shipping crate had simply fallen off the platform onto Roxy. I mean, she's blind, right? She could have easily been fumbling around, hit the blue crate, which was near enough on the edge, and it had fallen on top of her. Inside that crate was this forklift, and the forklift has come out and landed on top of her as well. Seems kind of along the right track, but nope, this is completely wrong, and I have several factors and bits of evidence to prove it. I mean, don't you find it a bit of a coincidence that literally about a minute beforehand, Roxy was up and around, then Helpy says you have to deactivate Roxy, and she magically finds herself underneath this forklift truck with a blue shipping crate on top of it. Did someone put her under this forklift truck and this shipping crate? If so, who? I mean, there's not many people who would be able to do that in the Pizzaplex anyway, and why would they want to help the mimic? Now, initially what I thought is that the blob could have come out of the hole, because remember, Roxy Raceway is on top of the old pizzeria, the blob is down in the pizzeria, it could have easily have come up the sinkhole and attacked Roxy, or at the very least caused earthquakes, which we know have been happening, and caused the shipping crate and forklift to fall on top of Roxy. I mean, it's an interesting idea, it's definitely plausible, but why would we need the blob to do that when we've already theorized that Roxy could have done that herself because she's running around blind? So neither one of them were correct. We know that a headless Freddy is running around, but Freddy seems to have some type of direction and is able to follow people and follow people's noise. There's no way Freddy would have come along and put Roxy under this forklift. Doesn't make sense. Now, initially, I thought there was a platform above these crates, and the crate itself fell down from the platform into Roxy, but looking at the actual environment, that wouldn't be the case because the forks of the forklift are actually under this blue shipping crate, and the way it's positioned on an angle, that forklift already had that shipping crate on its spikes, or whatever you call them things which lift it up. So, one, there wasn't a platform there for it to fall off of, it was literally other blue shipping crates, and two, it's on these spikes. We're also forgetting another crucial thing here, the recharge station. Now, this recharge station was not there when Gregory escaped the Pizzaplex, meaning someone or something would have had to have put it there, but that's irrelevant for this theory anyway, because there was an initial theory that Roxy was in the recharge station and that the forklift had fallen into the recharge station and crushed Roxy as well. The location, the placement of these objects do not make sense, and also the way the recharge station is on its side, it's not crushed or looks like it's been flattened at any point. The door looks like it's been physically placed up against that red barrier, meaning there's no way anything had hit that or flattened it. The location of the forklift and the blue crate tell you that. Although it does look like it could have been hit or nudged with something going past, hence why it's on its side. Although the door being up against the red barrier doesn't really make sense. And this, my friends, is where things start to get extremely interesting. Because if you examine the scene right here, you see green engine oil with Helpy's face on it. Helpy engine oil? I've never really seen Helpy in any type of merchandise in the Pizzaplex or as a mascot. Now, you could argue that he's very much like an engineer slash mechanic and helps the mechanics slash engineers, hence why his face is on this oil container. But these oil containers are not just simply put there randomly, they were placed there by Steelwool in design. They wanted us to see this oil with Helpy's face on there. Why? Well, isn't it pretty obvious by now? Literally 30 seconds before this event takes place, Helpy is telling us to deactivate Roxy.
Roxy's the final node. You need to deactivate her.
Now, why would he somehow assume that a young girl would be able to take on a rampaging, psychotic animatronic? Because Helpy at this stage would have only known Roxy to be completely hell-bent on getting her hands on Gregory. And let's face it, she wasn't going to be pleasant if she got hold of him. She was absolutely fuming at the fact that Gregory had taken her eyes, so sending another child against this rampaging wolf would be a complete death trap. Helpy would not put Cassie in danger like that because he needs Cassie to free the mimic. Let's not forget, Helpy is working with the mimic. The game literally tells us this because one, his eyes change to the mimic's color, and then he literally gets us going around deactivating every single security node. No more proof is needed. But you could say, well, Twisty, Roxy's blind. She could have easily have gone into this forklift while the forklift had the blue crate up in the air on his forks and knocked it on top of her. I mean, she's blind, of course. Wrong. She's blind in a sense. I mean, if she was completely blind, how in the hell would she be able to fight the mimic, pound for pound, run in, grab his hands, and save Cassie? Her senses of hearing are definitely heightened, but I believe that mask she wears connects her to the VR network, the flip-flop side. This will also further help explain how she got out from underneath the forklift without any assistance. I mean, she was fully deactivated. There's no way she's moving that forklift. She couldn't anyway before she was deactivated, hence why she's under there. But we didn't deactivate Roxy as such, we deactivated the mask, and the mask was the security node. But does that then mean that she would not be able to see through her VR style Vanny mask anymore? And how did that help her get out from underneath the forklift? Well, I don't believe it actually turned off the mask. I just believe it turned off the security node part of the mask, because again, Ruin actually shows us that she's able to kind of see in fighting the mimic and making her way down to the old pizzeria. So this new mask may help her see in the VR network, and also could explain how she got out from underneath the forklift, because when you're in the AR network as Cassie, you're literally able to phase through objects. I mean, we see it. It's canon in Ruin. She's literally going through walls in this AR network. So could have Roxy then used her AR network capabilities to simply phase through this forklift because it's not there, or phase through into another area? I mean, it's canon that Cassie is phasing through walls. Roxy could easily phase through this forklift in the AR network. It would explain how she's able to remove herself from under the forklift. But I still haven't covered onto the fact of how she got under there, and I think it's pretty obvious at this point. Helpy. And you might be thinking, well, how is Helpy gonna put her under the forklift? Let me continue to explain. Now, after we go down to see the mimic, obviously he's stuck in that room, and we see Cassie deactivate MXES for the last time, and then she goes to the forklift, and she doesn't drive the forklift or anything like that. She literally just inserts a Faz wrench, not even into the forklift itself, into a panel next to it, overloads it, and off the forklift goes into the wall, releasing the mimic. Now, who's to say that Helpy couldn't have done that himself because he's connected to the network, overloads a panel of this forklift to hit Roxy herself, disabling her, ready for Cassie to deactivate her. I mean, it fits with his goal. He wants Roxy deactivated. He's helping Cassie do that. But he couldn't outright tell Cassie that he's just attacked Roxy, because then Cassie would be thinking, why is he doing this? Why is he disabling Roxy himself? It aroused too much suspicion, coupled with the fact that we know Steel will put these canisters with Helpy's face on them right there for us to see. This wasn't a mistake or they just appeared there. Steel will put these there by choice for us to see and hopefully make a connection. And I believe I've done that today. It makes sense. Re-examining that scene, there's no way that blue shipping crate could have fallen off there, then all of a sudden this forklift do the same thing. Besides, there was nothing there for it to fall off. It would have just been stacked on top of another blue crate. No, this blue crate was up on this forklift's lift before the recharge station. Helpy sets it off, it hits the recharge station, but not directly, at an angle. So the recharge station falls over on its side, right? Rams into Roxy, rams into the other blue shipping crates there, and that's why it's on an angle. The direction, the placement then all makes sense. This forklift has been moved at full speed to hit Roxy, just like we see in Roxy Raceway in the original Five Nights at Freddy's security breach. Whew, there was a lot. And that, my friends, is the real reason why Roxy is under the forklift. But then another question has to be asked. What was she actually saying at the end of the mimic fight? Because she can be heard saying stuff. Well, I've isolated the audio and we can make out something which will change the ending of Ruin entirely. And if you want to see that video, I highly recommend checking it out here. I'm Twisty from Twisted Animatronic. Stay safe out there, superstars.